can see the boats there. They look like paddle wheels or something. Or coaches. Like Cinderella coaches. Yeah, that's good. It's a dock. Maybe we'll have to... Maybe tomorrow night we should walk out there a bit.
So don't get run over.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. To get... Oh, yeah, I wonder if we can get across.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there's the Nile.
I didn't realize it.
Still a lot of dust. A lot of dust on that window from that sandstorm.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's neat. Our hotel at Fairmont here in Cairo. 5-star. Very, very good. We're both, Greg and I are impressed with it. We would stay here again at $450 a night, Greg?
US.
US. Oh my God. Yeah, I think we already paid that with the Viking though. That's pretty impressive though, they get this hotel.
Problems on the floor because this was where the stage they had during the opening performance and they did not fix it yet. We're so sorry for that. I mean, they should have made it quickly. And this is another symbol of the water there on the right side. Getting closer to the entrance. Beside the alabaster or the pyramid structure, you may see the black background decorated with the cartouches. The cartouche is a frame that looks like an oval shape. In the very beginning of the history, the kings used to put their names in a circle. And putting a name in a circle means life was eternal. Then when they had the unification between the north and the south of Egypt, they had the names of the kings, like two circles came to be in one, which the shape came to be an oval frame. And now you see what I'm talking about, the oval frames with all the names of the different kings of Egypt.
Is that called a cartouche?
That's called a cartouche.
Oh, yeah.
It's a French word.
Oh,
we
yeah.
didn't change it since the French started the excavations, and it means the cartridge of a gun, like a bullet.
Oh, okay.
Because the shape of what you see in front of you now looks like a bullet.
Yeah.
So this is the French word that's now becoming a fashion. Whenever you go anywhere, they will tell you put your name in hieroglyphic, write your name in hieroglyphic. This is a very common kind of a souvenir that we have in Egypt, and this is welcoming everyone. When you look at the facade, and all the names of the pharaohs are there. Then look at something very special. There's a little sort of like a missing black block. Can you see it up here? And they look like a little sun with a rays. This is very interesting. When they designed the building, they designed it in a way that the sun rays would get from here to the face of the statue that we see now. And this is what happened in Egypt, in one of the temples in the south, the one called Abu Simbel. Twice a year, the sun gets from outside into the temple, shedding the sun rays onto the face of the king. So they did the same thing when they were building the museum, and this is what you see up there. You see the symbol of the sun rays, and then when you walk together inside, you're going to see the statue of the king is right there, and this is what happens. So the obelisk is behind us, the statue will be in front of us. Let's make it funny. So just want to make sure that he catch up with us or not yet.
Yeah, he's here.
Oh, okay. Wow. What an image. And what a statue. With the size of a statue. You walk closer, you get to see one. So, we're in front, get closer. By the big statue of
Во время
Ramesses,
первой
we have
и
one
второй
block of
династий
granite.
фараоны правили страной 3 года.
Among all the others that we're going to see the coming days. It's in a standing position like this, with the left leg being removed. The king is still alive. One literally step. See other statues, two-legged statues being acted like a tremendous.
Что фараон правил
¿Se logra?
And what's the after?
Что фараоны правили страной 3 года. Ему надо показать народам, что он носил сильный, здоровый, умный. Правда, такой.
That's the mummy. Represent his death. If it's a straight here, like this, it comes with the left leg. It's a message. Which is ahead of you, is where the boat museum I'm talking about. Finish the colors. You get your free time. We're starting our guided tour, and then you'll have a good free time at the end. You can do it on your own. Size. All what's on the right. New section, we have conference, and we have now it's very quiet. 30, 12 will be a bit busy, but we have a number of restaurants. Not only what you see here on both sides, but if you keep walking further on this area, there is a number of other restaurants and cafes. So there's some options. These are the staircase. Look at the statues on the staircase. The staircase had a theme. It's a very interesting story because it's divided into sections. And you would go, if you like, by the travelator, you want to make it easy, toward the staircase. The section is the first show to the kings. And the king are sitting or standing, statues representing the different kings. The second section will tell you how the kings started to believe in building pyramids and building tombs, temples. So this part of temples represented in the second part of the third kings. Then the third part is talking about the belief with the mythology, statues with the gods. The last part would be the sarcophagus and the coffins. As if it's a journey for eternity. At the end, with the panorama, where we get to see the pyramids.
Lá à direita, o prédio que está à direita, tem um barco, esse barco que foi na hora da grande prédio aqui, ó. O pessoal aguenta você. On the top, the flower. Could be the papyrus, could be the lotus. The flowers of Egypt. Papyrus is used in the lotus. Aquatic plant, they grow it up in the water, while the lotus is sent outside. The flowers and the capital of the columns will be different because they come to the Corinthian style. But in the ancient Pharaonic period, this would be the style of the column. Whether the one like here with the flower open, or if you look a little bit behind, remember the ones of yesterday in Saqqara, when we walked by the colonnade. The columns were like tied together, looked like reeds of papyrus when they put them all together. So this would be the other section. Steps. We go passing the pieces from the temples. A lot of these are made of between granite or limestone or sandstone. They use a lot of sandstone in ancient times. And we have quarries where the temples were made out of sandstone. The pyramids are out of limestone and many other statues and so like sphinxes. Look at some of the sphinxes down on the left. A lot of granite for the sphinxes as well. The one famous sphinx this afternoon will be in the Giza, and this is out of limestone, very much like the pyramids. These are the remaining of the temple, part of columns and pieces from the temples. We're surrounded by lots of stories of hieroglyphic writings. Carving includes gods. another part of the staircase, which I know it's impressive. It's like overwhelming because the more you go up, you keep looking behind you. Look at the way we started. Look at the size of the building. I can keep an eye on where they started and what are the scenes. This is another section of the staircase where we're going closer to the panorama, the windows, looking over the pyramids. And this section includes statues representing the god of the king. We have next to us a statue in the shape of a Sphinx, made of granite. The Sphinx, any Sphinx that we have in Egypt, would be in the shape of like the lion's body and a human's head. What we wanted to tell us that the king would be as powerful as the lion. But tomorrow I'll show you other things. I'm visiting the Cairo temple. They will be represented the body of a lion, but a ram head. Why a ram? Because the ram is symbolizing the god Amun. The god Amun is a very special god in the ancient thought, different than Atum. So we have Amun and Atum. Atum is the sun, but Amun is like a created god. We believe that he was the god of gods. So this is the typical Sphinx representing Ramesses II, the king of Egypt, which is everywhere. And of course he never missed the cartouche that got his name, and a little damage. Somehow there's Stop to take one picture. Yeah.
Hey, you took a picture this time.
Yeah, exactly. I told him we were down there. Get my picture on yesterday.
Lion.
This last part of the staircase shows us the sarcophagus. So it's the trip. Moving on from one section to another. Where is the king going to end up? End up in this pyramid. There's the sarcophagus, there's the coffins. This is where we will keep them into the afterlife spot, which is the pyramids of Giza. Up the staircase, let's go passing the sarcophagus and get to the panoramic view. One sarcophagus after the other, where there would be granite. Sometimes they're made of limestone. Sometimes they're made of alabaster. The kind of stone they use will tell us about the standard of the person. If it's granite or alabaster, it belongs to the king. If it's limestone or wood, it belongs to the ruler. Some they have great lid with a decoration that shape the mummy form of the person, and some others they just shape and they look like coffins. So it's different styles of sarcophagus, the container to keep the bodies of the kings and queens. This part of the museum, this is the part that shows the pyramids. You must have always been watching and hearing about museum and where you can find about real estate, textile, and that's up to you. Don't allow us to start by King Tut's collection. We don't want people to miss the galleries, which is on the left, and this has been opened a year ago. So they still ask us with the route of the tour that we have to go passing some sections of the gallery, and from the galleries we have bridges. You see the bridges there? That takes us from the galleries to King Tut's collection. So I'll let you go through sections of what's been here on display, and then we will start together King Tut. When we end with King Tut, you'll be coming out this way. So this is the exit. And from the exit, you'll be going down, whether it's stairs or this travelator or whatever, and down on the bottom, just to remind you, is where you're going to find on the left the bridge where you can go under and you get to the boat museum, or you keep going straight ahead to the food court and all the different activities of shopping and food, and then we will meet again right there by the exit, let's say 5 minutes to 1 maximum. Zigzag way. Zigzag, give us the way to go chronologically. Let's do love. Statues are everywhere. You can feel that you can spend days and days. Look at the ones on your right. They're limestone statues as we keep walking down here.
Try not to.
Then let's go to number 4. Number 4 is the bend, which I pointed for you yesterday in the distance when it wasn't yet sandy, and you were able to see a bit of it. And this is when they started building a room under and a room in. Can you see what I'm pointing out on the chart? And this is the failure example from this perspective, because the king was upset by having his pyramid a bit round or bent, and he asked the same architect to build another pyramid for him. So the one more pyramid up, it's for the same king, and it came to be the true pyramid. Both the bent and the one on top are for the same king whose name was Sphynz, and he was the father of Cheops. So when Cheops built this pyramid, he was simply following the example of his father. So the last pyramid that you see on the top, this is Cheops. This is Cheops, which is the final idea of building this very good pyramid in shape, and it's been followed by Chefren and Nicaris. So this is exactly how the pyramids are like. When they did the pyramid of Cheops, this was the biggest of all our pyramids in Egypt, because after Cheops, they built pyramids smaller, like Titi, that we walked in yesterday, and they were small, but they decorated them from inside. So this is why we have over 100 pyramids in Egypt, but they are not all as big as Cheops, and not even as famous as the step. So they're different styles, very small, but they're very impressive. Up to gallery 12. So I'll take you in what we have here and there, and we're standing by a statue, a very nice statue that comes from Giza. And this is from a temple that was excavated close to the Sphynz. The temple belongs to the king with the name Chefren, the son. They found a very big number of statues for the same king there in the temple. And look how nice is the presentation of the statue. He's sitting on a throne, lovely features. He's not wearing a crown as other statues, but he's wearing a head scarf, which we call it nemes. So nemes, N-M-S, it's their hair cover. And it rolled around the ears. You can see the full face features out there. He's also having a beard, and the skirt, look at the pleats. So it's like a pleated skirt. They're so good with the fine details on the pleats. And he's holding something in his hand. Many of the statues, if the hand has this position, they would never leave it empty. Could be, as a theory, that if they leave it empty, this will be the very fragile part of the statue. The whole thing might collapse. So they fill it with anything, just to give it the strength, just to give it the power. If it's a stand, if it's sitting, whatever. But we found it's very common that we've got something in the hand. Then you can never miss the carvings with his name everywhere. When you look at the face features, it's impossible to get the name of the person from his face features. You have to look anywhere on the body, whether it's on the shoulder, on the base of the statue. Look at the carving, look at the cartouche, which has the oval frame and includes the name of the person. So this is one of the examples. I'm talking about 2600 before Christ. When we keep looking on the side of the statue, let's move a little bit around. You find something very interesting decorating the side and the back. And these are the flowers of Egypt that I've talked about when we were coming up. The papyrus and the lotus. The two flowers, they represent them tied together as if they wanted to show us how north and south are unified. So one flower and another flower, and how they keep them together and they end up with a shape look like a lung, look like a heart. They wanted to tell us the country is taking the breath of life from the heart of the king. It's very symbolic, but it's very special. In hieroglyphics, they call it Sema Tawi. Tawi means north and south, and Sema means the unification. So it's the symbol of unification that we had decorating the side of the statue. And I love the please here. Representing all the five revolutions. This is one example. And there, on the other side, we have another example. So what you see outside is gold leaves, but the main thing is wood. And they get the gold from number of statues out of alabaster. This is the name Big Camels. So the statue comes from Giza. We're in a section of Gallery 2 that shows us pieces of monuments from the Giza area, and this is broken part, but still shows the alabaster and how it comes up to be transparent, translucent, opaque. So there are different qualities, and this comes from north of Oxford. So we're going like in a zigzag way. We've passed Gallery 2 and we're on to now Gallery 4, where Gallery 3 is up there that has a collection of different pieces as well, choosing pieces of. We're standing by the number of sarcophagus, wooden sarcophagus, which would tell us this belongs to the nobles and the high officials. What I wanted to show you on the sarcophagus is when they decorate with the eye. Why the eye? The eye has a special story in our ancient mythology. And the eye, we call it the eye of Horus. Horus is an important god in the ancient history, and he was the son of two important gods as well, Isis and Osiris. There's a legend that we will talk about it in depth one day when we visit one of the temples concerning this family. It's like a triad. And when I say triad, it reminds you with whatever religions. So triads of gods they worship throughout the history. So there was a god under the name Osiris, with a wife with the name Isis, and a son with the name Horus. Horus has a story related to the eye, because he had a revenge idea from his uncle. And when he was making a revenge over an uncle, he lost an eye. Horus lost an eye. And it's been replaced by the sun god Ra. So it became the eye of protection, the eye of healing. And from Egypt, it traveled around the world. And it became the very special eye. If you go to Turkey, if you go to Greece, they just paint them in blue and blue and blue. And it became the very special symbol. But the story started from here. In the ancient tradition, we have the idea to show you the eye. And also an eye on a sarcophagus, because they believe that the person is going to look from afterlife to the real life. Here and coming out, and then some others they have the hieroglyphic writing, the story of their belief and the story of their prayers to keep the evil spirits away from the tomb. So they decorate whether with the hieroglyphics or with the colors that shows up the facade and afterlife and about beliefs with sarcophagus and then tomb stelas. A number of tomb stelas that we found them in the tombs that tell us a story of something. And what kind of decoration they have in their tombs. Don't you remember yesterday when we went into the tomb of Ka-Gimni, the nobleman? They had a lot of food and offering. So this is part of what you can see. The person will be represented with like a table in front of him, having a display of all different kinds of food items. So this is part of the stelas with the food and flowers and colors. Sorry. And then we get into move on. in the front. So they're like in a military march between the Nubians, they got the darker skin, look at the colors of their body, and between the Egyptians moving on, holding the shields and arrows, and they're like in a military scene. Yes. And sometimes they represent the outfit of a king in like a panther skin. So they focus on showing us different beliefs of what they would have. So this is also marches of a military thing that we got in ancient time. And this is the room that has a collection of some other statues. So the one behind you looks like a bed.
Oh, that's amazing, huh?
On the left side. And when we get to the Sphynz this afternoon, it will be between the excavation started in Egypt. You find great monuments, temples and tombs and statues, but you cannot read. So by time they were able to get to know the details of the history. In the beginning, even when the cartouches was there for them, they didn't know what does it mean. It looked like a cartouche of us, so they gave it the word cartouche. So this is how it looked like. But later on, they knew that the writing inside was the name of the person, the name of only the kings. Nobles, high officials did not put their names in cartouches. Only the kings and the queens, they put their name on the oval frame. There's another frame that you see it next to it, looks like a key or a cross. We call it Ankh, famous symbol of Egypt. It's everywhere. You're going to find it decorated in many of the places. So now we talked about the eye of Horus. We have the Ankh, which is a symbol of good luck and long life. We are still believers, and we are locals, we're still believers in all these symbols. Don't get surprised when I tell you one day in a shower list of a baby, the first thing we have is a cartouche with his name on it. Like it's a newborn baby, a new beginning, it's a blessing for the baby. Many people, they love to wear the ankh or have it in their cars, in their houses. That's a big belief that the ankh would protect them. From where the cross came on. So many people relate the ankh with the cross as well. So this is a little bit of the symbols that we get on this. Will be the actual entry to the tomb, and sometimes they put it in the tomb because this is what they believe the king will be going out and in through such a representation. So this is the number of the photo. Moving on to one section. We have on the right side a very nice alabaster canopy jars, the containers, the jars to keep the internal organs. And you'll see the very fine ones of King Tut. But these are same idea, because for each king you have a container, a box, that keep 4 jars together. Why 4? Because in their process of mummification, when they go into the operation to keep and preserve the bodies, they make an opening on the left side. With a sharp piece of stone, they take the organs out, and the organs are simply the lungs, the stomach, the intestines, and the liver. They keep the heart inside the body because they believe it's going to be used. There's a function to keep the heart in. The god Osiris that I've just talked about, he'll be responsible to judge the person, if the person is good or he's bad. So you'll have like a scale, and put on one side of it the heart of the dead person, and on the other side is keeping a feather, a symbol of justice, to figure out if he's good or bad. And from this we got the say of someone is a light-hearted person. He's light-hearted. This has a base of the ancient Egyptian, because they're always expecting that the light heart means the king was good. So this is why they don't take the heart, put it in a jar, like here. And the very fancy ones are the ones of King Tut, that we're going to see them as we start the collection together. It's in a nice container, and a container was inside another container, because many of King Tut's collection, they look like Russian dolls. They were like one thing inside the other. And this is why the tomb was small, but it was packed with all the collection. You'll be impressed when you start the collection together. Let's keep moving on. But they also take the brain out and they take it through the nose. Part of the process. And this mummification took them 70 days, 70. It was an operation.
So does each organ
70.
does each organ go in
One jar.
okay,
Yes.
one jar?
One jar, like the stomach, the intestine, the liver, the lungs, each was in. But we didn't really find the organs per se. I mean, when they excavated these
Right,
jars,
yeah.
the organs
They-
were not preserved. But
exactly.
the mummies were preserved.
Yeah.
The mummies were sealed in a way. Now you can see the colors. We will get into how we start from scratch. We start with a plain white wall, and then they have the sketches. Then they put the black lines. They put the correction with the red, and then they had the colors. So this is very special. Remind you with what we saw yesterday in the tomb of the noble, because it shows some boats, like on the right, and it shows lots of farming scenes on the left, and it's lots of offerings as well. Farming, including even, oh, look at this, look at what I'm talking about. Now you can see, this is to tell you an idea of how they started in ancient time. This is how it's like a plain wall, so they level the wall and they just add the layer of plaster and make it very smooth, and then they start making like sketches. Here we go. And gets up with the idea of how it's like. After this, they start having the colors, which is great artists would be in charge of doing the work in the tombs. So they really spend a lot of time, whether for the king or for the noble, decorating the tombs, and they were very skillful to come up with all the stories, and we've got an example of it yesterday. And when we go to Luxor, we're going to get into the tombs of the kings, and the decoration wouldn't be similar because we're going to be afterlife to the belief of the gods, the kings.
Reminds them with the pyramids.
Another example, before we go to King Tut, is just to show you the work of the nobles and the little statues which they found in the different tombs. It wasn't just a start, statues. They kept them to represent the process and the work. And many of these are in different museums around the world, especially if you go anytime to the Metropolitan in New York. The Met has a big collection of these little figures. And this shows you how they were working, how they were moving on, farming. So it wasn't just the carving, but it's just the figures. We call these figures ushaktis. Ushakti coming from the word usha, it means to answer. In the Middle and in the Old Kingdom, they were making them like this, workers doing the job. In the New Kingdom, they kept them like in a mummy position. Many figures, like mummies, in the one tomb. And we found in the tomb of King Tut over 400 of these figures, ushaktis, as if they're going to work for him in his afterlife. Presenting between men and women, the women even carrying the food on their heads and moving on to the process, and some of the sandals. So I'm not going to keep you excited for long because I'll take you to the sandals of King Tut. So from one period of the history to the other, we've been going by the Old Kingdom and then the Middle, and now we have a gallery that tells us about the New Kingdom. What we do have at the New Kingdom, unusual. And before we get into statues, there's the one behind me in a kneeling position for a Queen of Egypt under the name Cairo. We are going to visit a temple for her in Luxor. It is a very special queen that ruled Egypt. And before we talk about the queen, let me point out to you what's down here, the map of Egypt. And we've been talking earlier about Egypt and the Nile. And you will have a lecture when we get there one day after tomorrow. And the Nile in Egypt runs from south to north. So what I'm talking about, this is Memphis, not far from where we visited yesterday. You look at that north, the Nile gets into two branches, making what? Like a V letter. This is the delta. So the very fertile land of Egypt is up here. The northern borders is the Mediterranean. The southern borders is the country called Sudan. The west is where we have Libya, and the east is where the Red Sea, with the Asia continent and the number of other Arabian countries. This is the area called Sinai. The Sinai Peninsula. We're famous for the Moses Mountains, St. Catherine, so it's very special. And we'll be going on the Nile. Hatshepsut, her statue is out of granite, a very nice statue that comes from Luxor. She's like in a kneeling position, holding jars as if she's offering something. And look at the details of her features. She's got lovely features with elongated eyes, but we miss all this because she insisted of representing herself as if she's a king. Look at her beard. So as if she wanted to say, I'm the king of Egypt. I'm as powerful as the king of Egypt. So this is her story simply. We'll get to know more about her when we visit her temple together in Luxor. She got a very nice temple, and she was the one that acted very powerful, relegated a king to the background, telling him that you are from a lesser queen, but I'm the legal one to rule. And she ruled the country for 21 years. Towards King Tut's collection. It's a bit confusing if you're on your own wandering around the museum, and sometimes you can miss the most important pieces. As we're walking together here, when you look at the bottom, you can look at the right side and the left, when we started together. The right is where we've been walking up the stairs, and the left is where the panorama with the pyramids.
Yeah, right.
You just keep walking, you don't need to show any tickets. Just keep on walking. I want to tell you that we have to be a little bit careful because the lighting in the galleries here are a little bit darker than where we started. Okay, it's going to be an interesting tour, but you might feel, of course, that it's getting a bit busier in other sections rather than the galleries, because everybody is excited when they come to this museum to see this collection. The collection of King Tut is displayed in different galleries, and they're including part of funeral objects, and part is things that is in use. He was alive, and they got it into the what I mean by things used like furniture, like chariots. How we started with chariots. Chariots from his tomb. And everything actually that is here comes up from his tomb.
Sorry.
They're original pieces. No replicas. So don't ask me. This is the replica. No replicas here. They're all original pieces dating back to 1350. The king was ruling the country in the Middle and we have in our history 30 ruling camels, like 30 dynasties. He was in the number 18 within the new kingdom. The chariots were used by them. They're made of wood covered with 24 carats of gold, and they're inlaid, some of them, with the semi precious stones. When you look at the precious stones they have out, it's going to be lapis lazuli, cornelian. These are the stones famous in Egypt, and you get them in most of his collection. We knew about the chariots and we were able to price of the king. Early when the pyramids were built, the chariots were not very common. They didn't have this collection, chariots representing what was in his tomb, they were found in pieces. We had to put them out. They were on display at the old museum for so many years, and then they moved them to the new museum down here. This is just a one case that includes a number of them. And let me take it for another piece, a box that shows
king fight in his alone and
gets you back to the 1922 about how the discovery of the pyramids. And for here we get behind the screen pieces of monuments. Alabaster, nice pieces, really beautiful. Everything has been found in the tomb. Wow. Well, not yet by the big masterpiece like his throne, like his mask, like his coffins, but I'm taking you one step at a time to show you some of the alabaster collection with a vase and then a boat out of alabaster. A little chair as well. by the screen around us that shows you the colors of the
Sorry.
shows the stones as well, like the lapis, the turquoise, the carnelian, and the cartouches that includes the name of the king. More of the alabaster. One has the shape of a cartouche, and one is also a square one. The one there on the right has the ivory. We are not typical for ivory in ancient times. We used to trade with other countries to get the ivory. Like on Punt on the Somali coast, you get the ivory. And look at the ankh decorating. Even this box has the whole shape of an ankh. Can you see something very interesting on the box up here? 3 colors, red, white, and black. Can you see what I'm pointing at? This is from where we got the inspiration to choose the colors of the Egyptian flag. The Egyptian flag has the same 3 colors. So red, white, and black. It's been decorating part of this box from King Tut's collection. And I'm talking about 1350 before Christ, with Ankh. And this comes in his name, because when I say Tut, Ankh, Amun, Ankh, it comes in his name. So we have a birth name and a coronation name. So this is the decoration on the box that includes his name. They were like pushed. They were like all the stuff. Because they had 70 days to mummify his body. In the 70 days, they were getting things from his palace to the tomb. And the tomb is mainly composed of 4 rooms, 2 big and 2 small. One of the big rooms was nice and neat because this is the one that was prepared for his mummy. But the other room, called the antechamber, is the one that has the mess. Everything was thrown in, boxes and chairs and chariots, one thing on top of the other, because they have to finish everything in 70 days.
He was young, right? So
He was young. He had a sudden death.
hadn't built
They started, but he didn't have the time to finish the tomb. 1922, with a big work that was Howard Carter and Lord Carnarvon, spending a lot of time, a lot of money to find the tomb of King Tut. I would like to point out a picture of this boy. And when they had the celebration a few months ago, November 1st, during the celebration, they talked about the story of this boy. The story would say that this boy was the boy in charge to help Howard Carter with his team to bring the water on his donkey on a daily basis to the site when they were working on the valley of the Egypt. One day when the boy was getting the water, the donkey's leg just stepped all the way down into the ground, and he could not move the donkey. So he jumped off and he went running, telling them, "Come and help me. I'm on time, but I cannot get the water for you." They went there and they looked, and this was the first steps that led them to the tomb of King Tut. So he was a big help, in a way, after the excavation for some time, that his story with his donkey has been very special. And they're represented in a picture that is taken from the 1920s, and he got a necklace on wearing it from the time or from the collection of King Tut. When they had the celebration a few years ago of 100 years to open the tomb, it was a big event that was there in Luxor, and his grandchildren, they were invited for this celebration because they always talk about this boy that was the help. Pictures and pictures shows the work of the discovery. We're talking about it took them like 10 years to keep looking for the tomb. Or 61 before his discovery that they've been there in the Valley of the Kings. So like over 100 years before the 1922, they was working there in the Valley of the Kings, excavating many other tombs. So this is how it looked like. Where I'm pointing up there, this will be his tomb, but then around his tomb there is a number of others. Okay, we have a collection of different chairs and alabaster. And there'll be different beds. All comes from the same tomb or the same king. Talking again about the 1350 before Christ. The one chair after the other, between the simple ones made of wood with a papyrus, between the ones that have the ivory, and look at the very nice alabaster basin. It's very transparent. It's a masterpiece in his collection. Come closer and see they're like one inside the other, and it shows the carving into the inner one. representing the king with his wife. You're going to say, come on, Lamia, what about the wife? He was only 9 when he ruled the country, and he died when he was about 18 or 19. Actually, he was married for like a half. And don't get surprised, they have these marriages at that time. And this marriage is what they tell us in the story. He became the king of Egypt because of this kind of a marriage. His father was the king Akhenaten. And Akhenaten was married to Nefertiti, the very famous queen of Egypt. And she's different from Nefertari, because you get confused. Nefertari, she's the wife of Ramesses II, but Nefertiti is the wife of Akhenaten. We knew later into the history that Akhenaten was King Tut's father, and this is from DNA, so the latest technology will get us into more and more of theories that could be changed. So Nefertiti was not the mother, so probably Akhenaten was married more than one, because in the history they know that between Akhenaten and Nefertiti they had only daughters, no sons. But by the death of Akhenaten, Nefertiti wanted to be the queen of Egypt, and she was trying in a way or another to make it. Simply, his wife was a half-sister, and this one was the alabaster basin, decorating the scene, representing both of them. Then we have beds, a collection of beds here on the right side. Some are plain wood, others are having the 24 carats of gold on, wow, with the legs in the shape of the lion's legs, and look like very uncomfortable when they have the headrest. So these are the headrest that was also found in the tomb of King Tut. Then we have a collection of jewelry and lovely sandals. This is where we go for some of his kind of outfits and sandals. So we keep going from one gallery to another. This is old pieces that has been found in his tomb.
How'd they get it all in?
How they get it all in? Actually, this was the big job that was made at the time when the tomb was excavated.
Wow.
With all these pieces between things that have been found inside boxes, things were just thrown in here or there. And this is all of his different rings. Would you believe this is all the rings that he needed? Why do I need all these rings?
They're all the same color.
They're all same color. It's the lapis, which is the stone of Egypt. And they have this shape of the cartouche as well. So it's like his stamp. His cartouche is everywhere. And this is more boxes with ivory. And look at some other necklaces and things from his collection.
Just pass out like friendship bracelets. Yes. Oh, right. Okay, let's see in here.
Oh, wow. We're not yet talking about the gold necklaces. We're taking it one step at a time. This is just the beads and the stones. And look at the box here as well with the gold. So this is a nice side of something. Look at this linen. Outfits up there with the linen. They didn't have cotton at that time. What they were using was the linen plastic. Look at the lovely of the jewelry with like the scarab beetle. The scarab is a very famous symbol and lots of stones. This is all the collection from his tomb.
Go ahead.
So far, this is what I wanted to show you concerning pieces of his furniture and jewelry and clothes. But let me start with this little shrine. This little shrine will bring us to a topic related to death, related to the other collection that we will see together, how his body was found in the tomb. This is like a model of a shrine that will see the big size of the same, and they have 4 of these. So 4 shrines were found in the Marian chamber. They were like the Russian dolls, one inside the other. So this is probably was the model when the artist started, and then from this idea they did the big ones. And this is wood covered with 24 carats of gold. Let's start together walking this direction, and we will start talking about this. Look at the design, like the one I just showed you. This is the one that fitted exactly.
さあここにね、逗子と書いてあります。ピラミッドツタンカーメンのところ、日本語で説明があるのは読んでみてください。ここ1個目の逗子。
the mask. You want to see on this gallery is the shrines to start with, and then we'll be going by the coffins, the mask, it's the underway as well.
Whoops, sorry.
And the decoration on the shrines, it tells us about the afterlife story. It's going to be very similar to what you will see when we get to Luxor in the Valley of the Kings. So the decoration in the Valley of the Kings is very much the same as what you see on the golden shrines. Stories of the afterlife, chapters of what we call it the Book of the Dead. The Book of the Dead was never a book. They didn't have books at that time. But the Book of the Dead is like sheets and sheets of papyrus papers. By keeping them together, we consider them a book that talks about the afterlife. So this is the decoration. Again, on the right side, this was the big shrine. Then you get a little bit smaller to the second one. Then we get the third and the fourth. You may walk to the front and get to see the inside of the shrine because they're decorated inside and outside.
さっきの寿司よりもちょっとちっちゃくなったね。中の模様どうですか？行きましょう。ちょっとちっちゃい。
Por la tele y yo no puedo decir a la comenta, sí.
I saw this in Toronto when they had it.
Oh, really?
It's a ROM in the 70s or 80s, I'm not sure. But I remember going to see it.
So the body was actually buried in this one.
What?
The body was actually buried in this.
Yeah, in this one, yeah.
And then the others were.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I think I'm depending on your
My picture? No problem. Yeah, I know.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, no problem.
inside rooms. The tomb had 4 rooms, 2 big and 2 small. One of the small rooms, it's called the treasury room. What do they mean by the treasury? The inside of his body. It's his treasures. So they kept them in the jars, and this is how they've been found, one inside the other. Now we're still, what do we have?
And then they found those inside.
Statue that we can see him wearing sandals, because we've seen the sandals separately, and we've seen statues all over on display bare feet, but now you can see him wearing the sandals, and from how the size of the sandal is like, it shows you that they wear them big in size. They're not their exact size of the feet. Could be this is how they felt comfortable, it could be whatever. I think the new generation nowadays are wearing their sandals, flip-flops, always in a big size, and they keep just moving this way. So this is how the king is represented with his collar. Look at his eye. Sometimes they make the eye inlayment with rock crystals. So it's either or, but this is so nice with the eyebrows covered with the gold as well. So these are the 2 statues. And from here you see the gallery that we've just been walking through with the shrines and the coffins. And then to the other side we see 3 funeral beds. First went to the tomb. Each one has a different shape of an animal. Look at the headrest. Looks like uncomfortable. One in the middle shows you the cow. And the cow was an important goddess in the ancient mythology. Why was the cow an important goddess? They had a big belief that the cow has something that looks like a mother. It's like a maternity goddess. The mother gives the milk to the newborn baby. So the cow gives the milk to the kings of Egypt. Gives them the legend to ascend the throne of Egypt. And they have many carvings on the temple that shows that the king would get the milk from the cow. So this is the belief. Sometimes they represent her as an animal like in here, and sometimes as a woman and having the horns and the sun disk. And we will visit the temple one day on our cruise related to the cow goddess, and her name was Hathor. Hathor. Was keeping, so they have a model of the mummy now here where we're standing next to, and where the model of the mummy, it shows all the jewelry that was on him, and it has the semi-precious stones as well, and just the idea of showing the front with the symbols of Osiris that's rocking the throne. So this is from the masterpieces that we have, and let's walk this direction please, because I want to show you some nice jewelry. Out pieces of jewelry. Jewelers come from all over the world to pick up their models and designs from what we got from the tomb of King Tut. Look at the big necklaces. Well, now of course they make replicas, but they're not going to sell them in gold. It would be damn expensive.
you're not kidding.
Egyptians, they are obsessed with the gold. They do their savings in the gold. And if you think of the ancient Egyptians, if they were believers in having a collection of gold like this, even for their afterlife, what is the concept of nowadays? If they have any savings in the mentality of the Egyptians, especially the countryside people, they don't invest in a bank. They invest their money in the jewelry. And the jewelry, talking about not diamonds, they don't go for stones, they go for solid gold. Think about 18 karat, 24. This is completely intact. Then you start talking and you see her arm with all the bracelets. This is their savings. They think that if they ever had a jewelry money, are going to see the mummy, and eventually they're going to move it here because I've seen a room and it's still still empty that says outside the mummy. But so far, up till last week when I was in Luxor, the mummy was still there. I don't think they've moved it, otherwise I'll know, but so far it's still there. And this will be the only tomb in Luxor that when we go there, you'll see the mummy inside. Because all the other mummies, they've moved them and they are now on display in the civilization that some of you will be visiting on the last day. Health issues. When I'm talking about health issues, it's because they talk a lot about what kind of problems he had. And if we got a collection of walking sticks in his tomb, they refer to that he needed to have a walking stick. He had some problems with his legs, and it's been proved up from his mummy. And also concerning his death, many stories have been raised up, and many theories. For such an old history, we never stuck to a theory or be against. We have to be very flexible. We've been learning for so many years that he was assassinated. And the reason they tell us this, because who ruled after him was the general of the army. His name was General I. So thinking of it, it sounds logic. If a general was the one who's taking over, so why not this was a coup and he was assassinated? But lately this theory has completely changed. And from the latest update, because to renew my license, I have to go for a course every 5 years. And a course is a week, but just to update us with all the new theories and the new discoveries as well. And this is from the Ministry of Tourism. So from the new theories, we've learned that he was not assassinated and he had an infection on the knee, and this was the cause of death. So things changed. And I would say 30% from what I've learned when I was years ago in college have changed completely. Because of the new technology, the new X-rays and the new DNA and whatever the new equipments change up the history of what we've been learning about. Even how he became the king of Egypt. I told you now we know that he was the son of Akhenaten. Well, before that we didn't know this story. And concerning his death as well, the latest of what we hear about that he was not assassinated, he had an infection, and this was the cause of death. In his collection, to show you the throne of King Tut. The throne is a masterpiece. It's one of my favorite pieces within his collection. So we're lucky getting a chance to get the picture in the front with not many crowds. It's a throne that is removed by him. He was alive in the house. And with his death, they moved the throne from
come mai loro due hanno un solo sangue. Fa telefono
hanno un solo sandalo, vedi che ai piedi lui ha un sandalo sul piede sinistro e lei ha un sandalo sul piede destro. Molto bella questa.
This way. Let's get the front shot of the throne, the throne of the king, which made out of wood, gold plated.
At the back, we have 4 other photos.
That's good though.
You can spend days and days in a tour of the museum. There is still a lot. You can wander around on your own, depends on how you feel. Museum galleries, or you want to have a break. You can always work it the way you like it. Remind you that the exit will be this way. And as you come up this way, you're going to find the staircase. So whether you go down or you go back to the galleries, if you want to spend more time at the 12 galleries. And at the bottom of the stairs is where you can walk to the boat. So the boat is very special. I would say you go and have a look at the boat. And then from there you can go for a little break, cafe or something. And we're going to meet just outside where the exit, let's say 5 minutes to 1 maximum.
Want to go down and see the boat?
Yep, I think that's what they're doing. Yeah.
Okay. These stairs are really dangerous. You know, they don't mark them where the edge is, right? A lot of older people have come here and fallen. And they haven't corrected it. They haven't changed it. I read a lot about that even outside where they have these open pits, like when you're walking in, after their ceremony they didn't close it. But the stairs are really, because they're all, like she said, she kept telling us, watch your step, watch your step.
Really like, oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. Would have just been this.
Morning.
Morning.
Trip. For those even are not interested in camels, you can still join us because this will be the edge of a great spot where you can take lovely pictures for the three pyramids together. And if you just want to take a picture next to the camel, not even a whole camel ride, you can still come and join us. So we're all going to walk towards the pyramids in a great part of the Sahara. So we're just on the Sahara in the desert. This is the desert that goes up to the borders of Egypt and Libya. No matter how you've heard about the pyramids or how you've just watched programs, it's not like when you see them in real. So they are there on your right with the background of the city. So the Great Pyramid, the second one for the sun and the grandson. But notice from here, the second one for the sun looks bigger, looks higher. It's just illusion. It's built on a higher plateau. Originally it's not. But it just gives you the feeling from here that it looks bigger. It looks like so nice and quiet. There's very few buses that we have in the area, and this is so good to just visit the site when it's less crowds. And we were lucky as well when we were getting into the visitor center. It wasn't too many people walking. There was no lines, so this was good. This is the area that we'll start our visit with. And from here, we will be back in the bus 10 minutes after 2. We leave from here, just in case anybody is not all the time with the group, in case you'd like to wander around, take some pictures here or there. The bus will be right in the same stop as we will park now. And 10 minutes after 2, we are back onto the bus so we can go for the next stop. So we will take you with the bus from one stop to another, and definitely you can feel free to enjoy the site. But if you'd like to join me first for the camel, this is where I'm going to walk to the right side. Then when we finish with the camel, you walk back again to where the bus, or take pictures first and enjoy the site, and then back to the bus here. 10 minutes after 2 is when we leave from here. Well, the next stop will be when we go closer to the pyramid, because here you only see the pyramids in a distance, but we will have a stop closer. And please, 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 I do remind you of how to be very careful with the vendors, with the camel people as well, just if you're on your own, away when we finish with our arrangement, with the local guards, which they consider themselves the local guides in the area. Don't follow any of their advices. Try to enjoy the site. Some of them are friendly, but some others are pushy and persistent. So please be careful, and we are around the place. We're always there to help you, so try to stick that we are in one place together.
Do what? Houses, we have photos of Camels already.
Here, get a picture of maybe what the pyramids we have.
Okay.
Yeah, tell her to take her hat off. Good idea. Oh, too late.
Who the next?
Go ahead. Okay. Go ahead.
I just want to stand next to it.
Come on, Brian.
You ready?
Good, but that's pretty intense. You gotta be on it.
Together. His wife?
Oh, no thanks.
As we will go, no. We will take some photos here and we will back to the bar. And we will leave here from the
What do you think?
Mother and the daughters. That's cute. I think they're with a group. It's a group. Right? They're a family. بقول لك ايه سؤال هنا الجمل ده حاطط فيه حاجه صفرا فوق ليه لمينه؟
لا دوت عشان بينزل
بنشده منوي دليل
بندربه بيها لسه
دليل.
Well, this is what they talk about. This yellow sun is like his. They're still training him to get like up and down. So this is their
Oh.
passport.
Yeah.
I don't know the technicalities of what they do.
Are they double hump camels with the? They cover those humps?
Yes.
Yeah. Because there's two types, eh? Yes.
Normally two types. And if you Google for where does the camel originally come from, they tell you from USA. Although we've never been familiar with, we say Australia, we say wherever different place. Oh, this looks like it's an upset camel.
Oh no.
If you're having a little tantrum, I don't think that's it.
No, I don't think it's sick because he won't get it up. These camels, they just leave live by in the area close to the Sphinx. So they come in the morning, they bring them up, and at 4 o'clock they start them heading down.
Thank you.
I traveled I wasn't going to get a chance. And it happened.
Not too fussy on the camel ride?
Huh?
Not too fussy on the camel ride?
I didn't go. I couldn't. I have a permanent bird now. Oh.
Yeah. Oh, dear.
Then they started giving me some antibiotics with security. But I was supposed to be on the island has a nerve next to ear. It burned it. Oh. And she said, "Oh, you're lucky." I said, "What? You should do that." Permanent, but you know, I wouldn't be able to hear because you should have burned out of it.
Are they? Okay.
Pretty mangy looking camel.
Yeah, I know. Well, thanks. But I think he's security for our group.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, I think that's what she said.
Oh.
Remember, yeah, that's what I think she said.
Oh, okay.
They all have reps. Camel City here. Oh, jeez. Hey. Hey, buddy. How are you?
Bye-bye. This type of thing, wait, they got it tied up.
$1.
wooden rollers as they got them up high. Well, the pyramids, the one of the father, which is the biggest pyramid, it's like a 480 feet high, 139 meters, and this is all a solid building with blocks of limestone. Look on your left and you can see the mastabas, the remaining of the benches. So next to the pyramid, they will have the benches for the nobles or the high officials. Now, as we're close to the second pyramid for the sun, would you find out what the damage that happened to the pyramid when the stones have been taken out? So the stones looks in a very bad shape. This pyramid always have less people around because it's not open where people, they do not go into this pyramid. Sometimes they go into the smaller one of the Grand Sun, sometimes they go into the big one, but there's no tickets available for people to walk into this one, so that's why you find less people walking around, but the entrance is on the right. This is where the entrance to the pyramid, and we will stop here in a parking lot, and you'll see part of other temples that was connected one day with a pyramid. You may have your walk between getting to the left. If you want to walk towards even the front, you may walk a little bit closer to the pyramid, spend some time here and there, because we will be here up till 5 minutes to 3. So 5 minutes to 3 we'll be leaving from here to get to another stop, which is the Sphinx. So we still have the Sphinx to see.
Oh yeah.
Well, maybe it's a luxor.
Now you know the price, she said.
Yeah.
You can get them everywhere, she said. But
yeah, it doesn't sound like it's
no.
a real
no
problem.
So I guess we walk along here. Yeah, go right around.
My friend did not 1 minute.
What happened? Oh, he was going to give me the scarf.
$1,000. خلاص يا
Granite on the bottom, Aswan, center itself is limestone. And then here we go. Okay, don't stay just in the front, because the more you walk, you get less people. So keep walking.
No.
Сейчас Давай ставь, я хотя бы пробую.
Excuse me.
يلا خلاص.
Прям прекрасно. В очках было тоже хорошо.
Нет, ну я не высекли из скалы, они цель. 20 метров.
Y uno dándole una burbuja chica.
Kayak